The following program is legal advice for all those who spend $1,500 in super chats or $1,000 via Venmo delivered during the course of the show. For all the rest of you, it is just a dude in a baseball cap who bought himself a camera and an M7 Shure mic. Whether you're a client, a fan, or some weirdo with a fetish for dudes in baseball caps, stick around and hit the like and subscribe buttons. The following program is about to begin. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program. I am your host, Joe Neerman, a.k.a. Good Lawgic. If you're not following me on Twitter, you don't know that I added a little something to the front of this show. Something that when I was going through all the different like tags that I put away during the course of the day saying, oh, this is something I want to cover later. This is something I want to cover later. And then I stumbled on one that I put aside. I was like, oh, my God, I don't remember even reading this story. But this looks like it could be really, really spicy. And that relates to Fannie Willis's worst nightmare that could be unfolding before her very eyes. Her very eyes. What we saw today is something. Can you even imagine? Imagine for a moment if this actually pans out. Oh my God, if this pans out. What am I talking about? Joe, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, Joe? Let me share this with you. Today, Judge McAfee issued a ruling for one of Trump's co-defendants, specifically stating that his co-defendant, Floyd, can continue to fight for 500,000 ballots from Fulton County to argue the debunked. It's debunked. I don't understand. That's my Jake Tapper. Why are we talking about this? It's debunked. The debunked fraud claims. What? What's this? Indeed, Judge McAfee, Fulton County judge, will allow co-defendant of Donald Trump in the Georgia election subversion case to continue his efforts to access thousands of 2020 ballots to argue debunked voter fraud theories. Harrison Floyd, who led the organization Black Voices for Trump in 2020, argued during a hearing Tuesday that he should not have been charged in the racketeering case because his concerns about voter fraud and questions about the election results were legitimate. That's right. To this day, he's still an election integrity denier. He's a denier. And Judge McAfee said, that would be a pretty good defense. That's a pretty reasonable defense. Oh, my. Trump officially lost to President Joe Biden in Georgia by more than 12,000 votes. Floyd's attorneys are pushing to access more than 500,000 ballots from Fulton County, claiming they intend to produce evidence. I don't know why evidence is in quotes, because I'm sure when they said their intention, they did not say, we're going to present evidence. I'm sure when they said we're going to present evidence. But this is CNN reporting. so there you go. They're going to produce evidence that thousands of votes were improperly excluded from the final vote tally. Fulton County Superior Judge Scott McAfee asked Floyd's attorneys on Tuesday to file additional information to the court in the coming weeks, including the scope of the expert review of the 2020 votes that they're seeking. McAfee also said he plans to have another hearing within the next 2 months to discuss the next steps in Floyd's attempt to access the ballots. Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger having a conniption fit. A Republican who found no evidence of fraud in the 2020 election. Well, maybe he's incompetent or crooked or many other issues. But he's a Republican. Found no evidence of fraud in the 2020 election after overseeing 3 separate counts of the ballots. Who cares? Who cares about your stupid counts? Who cares? 3 counts! 3 counts! Is that an audit? I don't think that's an audit. Conducting many other reviews of the process and investigating more than 250 claims of voter fraud, finding many of them, but not enough to overturn the election. So, in his opinion, Floyd is one of 15 remaining defendants, including Trump, facing charges related to efforts by the former president's allies to overturn the count from the 2020 presidential election results. A Maryland resident, Floyd has been charged with 3 counts in Georgia, including racketeering, conspiracy to commit solicitation of false statements and writings, and influencing witnesses. Chad Alexis, senior assistant attorney for Fulton County, pushed back on 2020 voter fraud arguments from Floyd's attorneys. Alexis also said the process of producing the ballots would take thousands of hours. Oh no, thousands of hours. And that this is a busy presidential election year during which the county needs all hands on deck. That's right, we need all hands on deck here. The county shouldn't have to bear the burden of manpower, Alexis argued. The Fulton County racketeering case against Trump has effectively been at a standstill. You don't say. Georgia Appeals Court is revisiting the question whether Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis and her office should be removed from prosecuting the case because of a romantic relationship that she failed to disclose with her former lead prosecutor, Nathan Wade, and then got up on the stand and presented an odor of mendacity. And the legal argument before the Supreme Court over whether Trump has immunity from prosecution also remains an issue in the Georgia case. The High Court is expected to issue a decision this summer. So in case you're wondering the status of the Georgia RICO case, just a quick little review here. It may get knocked out as against Trump because he would have presidential immunity in the eyes of the Supreme Court. It may got knocked out from Fani Willis' case because of the stench of mendacity that the High Court of Georgia says she can't sit here. She's so tainted. The stench from this taint is just too overwhelming for us to just say she can continue here. We need to remove that stench of that taint. The stench of that taint, that odor of mendacity that's overwhelming this whole room. People walk in the courtroom, they're like, oh my gosh, the odor of mendacity. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So may not be something they ever could prosecute against Trump. Fani may be knocked out, and the results of this prosecution may result in Georgia's election from 2020 being overturned. Oh! They created a basis for people who are interested in actually finding out the truth and providing evidence and saying, can't charge me because they actually really got it wrong. Yes, that's what could come out of the Georgia RICO case. At this point, I would tell you it's more likely that the Georgia 2020 election is to be overturned than Donald Trump being convicted in that RICO case. As a result of this case. As a result of this case being brought by prosecutor Fani Willis, not only is her her entire reputation scarred forever, but it's more likely at this juncture that Georgia's election results in 2020 will be overturned than Trump actually facing any sort of conviction as a result of those charges. So, not exactly the result that Fani Willis was envisioning. Rough day. Rough day. Couldn't happen to a nicer gal. 1K, and I could do something weird. You have no idea how to defend. Sold. I'm gonna have to check my Venmo. Oh my god. Oh my god. I dusted off an old intro. Those of you who came late and didn't see the intro to understand what he's referring, the intro I dusted off. I'm not going to go through the whole intro. Don't worry, I'm not doing it. But it starts with this.
The following program is legal advice for all those who spend $1,500 in super chats or $1,000 Venmo delivered during the course of the show.
So there you go. Apparently, I'm gonna double check my Venmo. Just this guy. Just this guy. All right, I think I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Okay. All right. Emo's okay. All right. So that was the first thing I want to get out of the way. Next up, we move from Georgia down to Florida. Oh, wait. Did I forget this comment? I did. A second. Joe, the chat is if we don't get at least a shovel and Kool-Aid emoji, we have to cancel membership. Stop being lazy, stingy. I think I can do that. I got to remember how to put emojis in. But I think the shovel, there's no Kool-Aid. I don't know. I got to figure out what to do with the Kool-Aid. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I got to figure out what to do with that. Joe, where's our special emojis members like shovels, Kool-Aid, and dead squirrels? I don't know. I gotta figure out. I think it's due for an update. Not promising, but sometime over the course of this week, I'll try to update the emojis. I think that's fair. I think that's a reasonable request. I haven't looked at them in 2 years. So, oh yeah. All right. Next story up. We move from Georgia down to Florida. What's going on in Florida? Jack Smith not having a good day. And people prosecuting Trump today. Not having such a great day. Not having such a great day. I mean, maybe we'll see how it went in New York. I honestly haven't even looked at closing arguments. I know that Judge Merchan has been bending over and contorting himself in a number of different ways, trying to make sure the prosecutors in New York have a good day. But I do need to address this because this relates to a gag order, a potential gag order that was urged for by Jack Smith in the Florida action. And this is what we got. Judge Eileen Cannon, based Judge Eileen Cannon, rejects gag order on Trump in Florida documents criminal case. That's what happened there. She said, I'm not having it. I don't need that. I don't need that at all. That's what she said. That's the reality. A federal judge on Tuesday rejected a request by prosecutors to issue a gag order barring Donald Trump from making inflammatory comments about law enforcement after his campaign falsely claimed the FBI had been authorized to assassinate him when it searched his Florida resort for classified U.S. documents. Why? Let's say he's full of crap. Why do you need to stop that? What's going to happen? Florida-based U.S. District Judge Eileen, you don't get gagged, even if you don't get gagged if you say things that are completely inaccurate. I'm not saying it was inaccurate, but even if it were 100% inaccurate, you don't get gagged for that. You know how I know that? Because CNN still exists. MSNBC still exists. There you go. There you go. Florida-based U.S. District Judge, and we should really read that sentence as Florida-based U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon rebuffed. Maybe that's why they worded it that way. You think that's why they worded it that way? You don't really see it worded that way usually when they're talking about U.S. District Judge. Florida's based U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon rebuffed special counsel Jack Smith's motion to modify the former president's conditions of release as he waits trial on charges of mishandling classified material. Smith had said Trump's, quote, false and inflammatory comments about the FBI could subject the agency as well as trial witnesses to threats, violence, or harassment. Why? What a nonsense argument. Such a nonsense argument. Cannon, who was appointed to the bench by Trump in 2020, wrote that Smith would have meaningfully conferred with Trump's lawyers before making the gag order. That he should have meaningfully conferred with Trump's lawyers before making the gag order request. Instead, the judge wrote, the special counsel's conferral was wholly lacking in substance and professional courtesy. It is one of 4 criminal cases Trump faces, blah, 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 and she basically told him to go jump in a lake. Trump's lawyers had opposed Smith's request and sought sanctions against the prosecutors, arguing that they had engaged in bad faith behavior by filing the motion to the judge on a Friday night before a 3-day holiday weekend, not giving the defense team sufficient notice to discuss the matter. Canada declined the request for sanctions, but threatened to impose them in future motions do not allow local rules, which she said require meaningful, timely, and professional conferral. You don't just bring a motion. You call the other side, try working it out, make sure you're not going to try and gotcha while you're sleeping on a weekend. You're away on holiday for 3 days that we're going to try and catch you on a motion. That's very unprofessional, Jack. It's not fair. It's not really his fault that he's unprofessional because he actually was never appointed to do the job. So maybe that's why. I don't know. On Tuesday, a jury in New York was hearing closing arguments, blah, blah, blah. Let's just look at this real quick here. Julie Kelly reporting here the paperless order, which says denying without prejudice for lack of meaningful conferral 581, the special counsel's motion to modify conditions of release. Upon review of the motion 581, defend Trump's procedural opposition 583, and the attached, these are the filing numbers. So file 581, and his opposition is 583, and the attached email correspondence between counsel 5831, that's probably an exhibit to it. The court finds the special counsel's pro forma conferral to be wholly lacking in substance. Wholly lacking in substance. And professional courtesy. It should go without saying that meaningful conferral is not a perfunctory exercise where you pick up the phone. Are you not there? Okay, I tried. Sufficient time needs to be afforded to permit reasonable evaluation of the requested relief by opposing counsel and to allow for adequate follow-up discussion as necessary about the specific factual and legal basis underlying the motion. Don't waste my time if you haven't tried to resolve this with your adversary in a meaningful way. So, U.S. judges, federal judges don't like when people F around. And she feels like, you effed around with me. You're screwing around with me. That's what she feels like. This is so even when a party assumes the opposing party will oppose the proposed motion and applies with additional force when the relief sought at issue for the first time in this proceeding and raised in a procedurally distinct manner than in cited cases, implicates substantive and or constitutional questions. Because of the filing of special counsel's motion to not adhere to these basic requirements, Jack Smith failed to do the bare basics. It is due to be denied without prejudice. Without prejudice. Meaning, without prejudice means do it properly, and then you're still allowed to bring a motion. Normally, when you bring a motion, when you lose on a motion, you can't ask for the same relief a second time. What she's saying when she specifically says without prejudice is this is not decided on merit. It's just decided based on your failure to follow procedure. So I'm denying your request without prejudice, which means you can come and ask for this relief yet again, but do it properly next time. Any future non-emergency motion brought in this case, whether on the topic of release conditions or anything else, shall not be filed absent meaningful, timely, and professional conferral. Moreover, all certificates of conference going forward shall, 1, appear in a separate section at the end of the motion, meaning when you finish the motion, write up, I want to see you write up all your efforts to try and resolve this before you brought the motion. So now that you just went through this stupid way of trying to approach this, from now on, I want to be able to read at the end of your motion all the steps that you went through trying to resolve this before you brought this motion to me. Not embedded in editorialized footnotes. It's got to be a separate own section. Number 2, specify in objective terms the exact timing, method, and substance of the conferral conducted. I need a whole book report. That's what I'm saying now. You want to bring a motion to me? I want a whole book report about your efforts to try and resolve this with your adversaries. And 3, include if requested by opposing counsel, no more than 200 words verbatim from the opposing side of this subject to conferral, again, in objective terms. So I want to hear word for word what they said back to you. This is a judge who ain't playing around. Failure to comply with these requirements may result in sanctions. In light of this order, the court determines to deny without prejudice defendant Trump's motion to strike and for sanctions. So she's not going to bring a motion to strike, and she's not granting him sanctions. Trump's attorneys asked for sanctions, saying this is how unprofessional they were. We need to get sanctions. We're entitled to sanctions. Judge said, I ain't giving you that. I'm not giving you sanctions. But do this again. Say what again? Say what again? That's what the judge is saying there. Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you. Say what again? That's what Judge Cannon is doing there. That's what she's doing there.
I don't remember asking you a damn thing.
That's what Judge Cannon's doing there to Jack Smith. Now, where does this relate to my efforts to see what is that? How does this relate to my efforts to ungag Trump? As you all know, I have a lawsuit that's pending, and I see all the big stuff out there. I'm going to come to it very soon. I'm going to go through it timely. So, as you all know, I started a lawsuit, Good Lawgic versus Merchan, where I'm seeking to have that application, to have that order that was issued, the New York criminal action, gagging him, which is still in effect right now, even after the witnesses have finished testifying, have that overturned. A lot of you probably saying, what the hell is the freaking point? The jury's in deliberations already. What the heck is happening there? To me, this is much more about than Trump. It's much more than the New York action. It's really ultimately, I'm working toward attacking the DC Circuit Court decision. That DC Circuit Court decision was relied upon by judges here in New York to say, oh, you see, there is a basis for us to attach this state interest or court interest in the fair administration of justice and use that as some sort of excuse to gag a criminal defendant, which to me is grossly, it's a gross abuse of our most fundamental constitutional right. And that's why I keep fighting against it. That's why I'm fighting against it. And that entire concept was stitched together and woven with crepe paper and twigs and other from one line to from this case and another line from another case, plucking from cases which are all screaming, never gag anybody, never violate anyone's constitutional rights, and plucking one little sentence where they're like, and sometimes we think that when it comes to restricting First Amendment rights, and they'll pluck out that part. You see, they say sometimes you can restrict. It's like just completely like just Frankensteining those decisions. And then weaving those different Frankensteins. Oh, here's his arm. Oh, here's a heart from the other one. Oh, here's a leg from that one. Oh, here's some sort of deformed genitalia I can pull from that to just crazy the way it's been ripped, those cases to stand for the exact opposite of what they actually say. Each of them saying never gag, never gag, never gag, never gag. And that the DC Circuit Court used those cases to form this giant Frankenstein monster that says, gag anyone who bothers the government, gag them, gag them. That's essentially what that's what that case does. And it's been used. It's been used here in New York. Jack Smith wants to use that in Florida. That's what he wants to do. Now, as far as working my way into these federal court actions, it's tough. It's tough because I got to fight for my standing. I got to establish my standing, and I have an Article 78 proceeding that works here in the state of New York. It's much tougher for me to work into these criminal actions. Maybe. Maybe. Still trying to sort that out. But, if he is to go now and file a formal motion, it is possible that I will be in a position to submit an amicus brief in Florida federal court opposing his motion to gag Trump in Florida. Given various contexts that I have with respect to the Trump organization and questions I have about the ongoing status of his case, that essentially their efforts to gag him would be a violation of my fundamental First Amendment rights of freedom of the press. And accordingly, hopefully, I really hope that Jack Smith brings this motion formally. So I think that what we'll see is Florida-based U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon will review it and dissect everything wrong with the D.C. Circuit Court findings and say it's not binding on me, and here's why I'm rejecting their logic. And hopefully, she will employ some logic. She'll accept our amicus brief and employ some of that logic. This would start to create a very clear schism between the D.C. Circuit Court and the Florida and the Florida court. So if we can start seeing a schism on this topic, and I think that Judge Eileen Cannon, Florida-based U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon, is an ideal candidate to help create this schism. And I am hopeful that Jack Smith will proceed forward in his application in a formal and proper way, that it can get properly rejected by Florida-based U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon, start creating that schism, and start working us towards unentrenching, just uprooting that obscene D.C. Circuit decision, which created this nightmare in the first place. So that's what we got. Let's see a whole bunch of folks. Here. Again, looking for my attention. We'll go first comes first. First come, first serve. Bella Stella hitting me with 20. Count them. 20 good Lawgic memberships. I brought this up right away as soon as she. Oh, come on. I couldn't have lost them. Wow. I don't know why my chat jumped down. I specifically opened this up as soon as I saw that you gifted these. I'm sorry, Bella Stella. Those of you who were gifted memberships to the following, courtesy of the Queen of Recruitment, Bella Stella, I thank you, Bella Stella. Welcome to the following. I remind you that the following is not at all a cult type of cult. A lot of people see this. They see this and they think, oh, this is like some sort of cult that has its own money. It's got its own coin. They see like, oh my gosh, he's got this crazy thing here, this crazy like coin thing happening here, which says on a digger challenge shekel. And then it's got the name my challenge and a picture of some completely random dude who's like, a member of the following here. Totally random dude right there. I don't, it's like just a typical digger. You can see from the beard there. This is like this is a hardcore digger right there. That's what that is. It's a hardcore digger. Yeah. So, yeah. They get confused. They think that this is some sort of cult. It's got some sort of currency or something like that. I don't know what the heck is happening here. I don't know what's happening. I'll tell you right now. It's not at all a cult type of cult. And I am not the leader of the following. Way too many people come to these crazy conclusions. And I'm just telling you right now. Not not the leader of the following. Not that it would be embarrassing at all, because the following is not at all a cult. There's no Kool-Aid. I don't care what sort of stupid emojis you guys want me to put up there, but there's no Kool-Aid, there's no spaceships, there's no self-harm, no harming others, no stabbing yourself with the jabby jab, no goat sacrifices, squirrel mutilations, no tracksuits that are mandatory, no throwing virgins into volcanoes, mild farm work, prayer meetings twice a week, no harming other people just for the schadenfreude pleasure of it. In no way, shape, or form is this a cult type of cult. This is purely about personal growth, community, unity, and leadership training. Welcome to the following. Welcome. God bless you. I'm sorry to get to it early. I feel terrible. Terrible. I'm a terrible human being. I'm a bad man. Let's go. The chat wants emojis, shuffles, track pants, communal drinks, and at least a petrified squirrel. Hire a gift artist or a former lawyer with time. A former lawyer. A former lawyer with 8 to 12 years on his hands. I can say that because you all know it's out of love. I can say that because you all know it's out of love. I can share this because you all know it's out of love also. This made me laugh. This made me laugh. This made me laugh.
Hypocrisy.
Say hello to my little friend. Okay? You like that? Huh?
Funny.
You want more?
It's funny. It's funny. It's really funny. It's Charlie D'Angelo. He's another guy. He actually loves Nick. I know he loves Nick because I know how many things he's made honoring Nick. So I know he's doing it out of love also. It's funny. It's funny stuff. You gotta give credit. That's pretty funny. It made me laugh. Coming in real quick before I sleep, people need to back Nick legally, man. Everyone I like is blowing this crap out of proportion. Listen to me. Here's the thing. Here's the thing I need to explain to you, okay? If people come out strongly in favor of Nick, then people look, oh, you're nose guarding. Oh, you're just simping for him because he's your friend. You're not being honest, whatever. And to be fair, if someone comes out harshly against Nick, then it's like, oh, you're grifting by turning on him. So the people on the other side are always going to sit there attacking you as if you're not being true. You're being very insincere. Now, as it happens, the people who are attacking Nick happen to be grifting. But I'm just kidding. It's a joke. See, it's humor. It's humor. I could laugh at Nick. I could laugh at the people attacking Nick. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. Don't get you. Thank God, don't get your double chins bent out of shape. It's just everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. We all love each other. Sometimes, sort of. At least faking it much better than we're faking it now. So anyway, bottom line. Yeah. So what I'll say is the other side, the people who are against you, are going to basically be saying you're a grifter, or the people against you are going to be saying you're nose guarding. And I'm sitting here and I'm very upfront. I love Nick. I want everything to work out for him, and I believe everything's going to work out for him. I do think he's got much more of an addiction issue than he certainly realized a week or two ago. I'm hopeful he's waking up to it. And dresses it seriously. I'm hopeful this is a wake-up call, and I think it will be a wake-up call. I'll point this out. I don't believe everything the state says. You want to know why? Because, I don't know, I've reviewed government documents before, and they're never accurate. So that's why. I know they're not going to be portraying him as father of the year in a child neglect charge. So, yeah, I don't really swallow what they're saying as being like, oh, yeah, Wow, he's effed. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. They say there's track marks. Someone's in that PC thing. Someone said, I saw track marks. Yeah, well, they searched his whole house from hide to hair, and from roof, from galley to stern, from shingles down to gutters, to French drain, from shingles to French drain. How many needles did they find? I found track marks. I saw track marks. It's like, yeah, I can't believe that there were 0 needles there and this dude's injecting. That's kind of stupid. It's kind of stupid. It's kind of stupid. So when I know that there's some sort of falsity there, I'm like saying, I don't believe it. At the same time, that doesn't mean that I believe that this guy doesn't have addiction problems. I think he does. I think he's got addiction issues that need to be sorted. And if he doesn't sort them out, they're really going to damage his life. So it's like, I don't even, like, people are like, Joe, I don't know what side you're on. I'm on Nick's side. I want Nick to win this. That doesn't mean I think that he's without sin or he doesn't have problems that really need course correction, like now. Like right now. Like really urgently. And not by yourself, but with other people, not me. Other people who are trained at helping people overcome addictions. I think that's very, very urgent. I think he should not be talking online right now. And that's what he would tell anyone who is in his position. Don't do it. So stop thinking that you're better at it than others, because you're not. Because it just doesn't come off well. It's not going to. And I'm saying this, I'm saying this out of love. So there you go. I think there's so many people here who are handling this wrong. And yeah, I think I'm the only one who's handling it right. Okay? I mean, I guess there are other people who are handling it right also to some varying degrees. I'm not saying I'm the only one who's handling it right. I want to withdraw that. Just sounded like the arrogance of like certain freaks. No, I'm not the only one who's handling it right. There are others handling it right. Each of us are handling it as we think is appropriate. I'm simply saying, I think people are making a lot of mistakes in the way that they're approaching this. A lot of mistakes in the way they're approaching this. I think that there's the allure of coin and grifting and all that other stuff. I think people are afraid of criticizing Nick. Perhaps at times I've been afraid of criticizing him. I don't know. It's not easy. It's a weird situation that we're all in here. I'm just saying, look, I can be open and honest and say, I love Nick like a brother. I only want what's best for him and for his wife and for his kids, and I want him to be happy. And I wish that I could control him like with a marionette strings and get him to do what I want him to do. Because I think if he did, the dude would be like, would rise up higher than he ever was before. And he has that capacity. What should I say? You talk about the constitutional law issues, the whole dispute there, where I said that's crazy. I should have corrected and say, obviously you throw that in emotion. Yeah, look, I did a stream today. I'm covering the Fourth Amendment issues. What did I say about the Fourth Amendment issues? I was like, this seems like a good warrant to me. When I'm looking at this, I look at Minnesota law. I'm looking at what this says. I got a hard time believing this is going to be overturned. That doesn't mean I believe what's in the warrant, but I'm just saying that I can understand a judge signing off on this thing, and I think that when you try fighting it in court, you're probably not going to win. At the same time, I also think if you're his defense counsel, you got to argue, hey, this warrant's crap, and here are all the reasons why. You got to argue, hey, why is it that they're coming after him in the way and doing this investigation? Why did they sit around if supposedly his kids are like little orphan Annies, or little orphan Annie's friends, and they're like, please, sir, I have no food. My clothing is dirty. I haven't showered in weeks. If that's really the situation, why the heck are they sitting around for a few days hoping, oh, I really hope that Nick is gonna screw up on air, so now we can really go after him? Like, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, they got this report May 16th. He didn't have the whole blow up, which led to this raid until May 21st. What are they letting the kids like basically wander around the streets scrounging for food, say, please, sir, please, I need more. I need more. That's what we're supposed to think is the state is going through the state's minds? That doesn't make any sense. 4 people show up. All of a sudden, what, they come up as a group? Was there like some group chat? Hey, pastor, we just want you to know that we all think that that Nick is doing drugs and that his kids smell and they're hungry. I mean, kids get hungry, but I mean, does that mean that there's no problems in the house? No, I don't know that there's not. I make these jokes and people say to me, "Oh, you're just nose guarding. Oh, you're just a Nick simp." And I'm like, no, I think that the guy really does need counseling. I think his drinking is really too much. I think that he probably has addiction issues. I don't deny the fact that, hey, look, it seems like there's probably drugs in the house. I don't believe the state planted 26 grams of drugs in the house. I don't know if they're Nick's. I don't know if they're April's. I don't know if they're Kayla's. I don't know if they're his kids. I have no idea. But that's not a good thing. I'll tell you right now. God forbid any property I own was ever searched. So you're not going to find 26 grams of coke there. Or 22 grams. Or 5 grams. You're not going to find any coke here. So yeah, I think that's a problem. I think that needs to be addressed. And I really love him, and I never want him to have like any bad times, either in prison or with issues with having guardianship over his kids. I just want him to be happy. And I think that, hey, look, if you need some counseling, some rehab, get yourself all straightened out. Come back and be like, like the Pope of LawTube all over again, but like greater. And then I think, so what I'm saying is now people talk about the constitutional issues, or I disagreed with Robert Barnes. Yeah, I agree. You throw it into emotion. I just don't want that to be like, this is where we're going, or don't worry about the charges now. Don't worry, because, there's a Fifth Amendment issue. And I think people misinterpreted what Robert Barnes was saying about it as if like, well, this is not anything. He's looking at it from a lawyer perspective. People are like, how do you not worry about his kids? You're saying that there's a First Amendment issue here. I think they're misinterpreting what he's saying there. At the same time, it did come across like he was saying, hey, this whole thing is corruption. So maybe his wording wasn't so great. But there's all this conflict that's happening here, all this conflict. And I'm just like, I don't know. Some people, I feel like they're just like, if I turn on Nick, I can like basically have thousands of people watching me and all excited. And I look like I'm the one who's really concerned. I'm the one who's concerned for his kids. Much more concerned for his kids than Nick himself is. Oh, you're so righteous. Oh, you're so righteous. Oh, wow, to be in the presence of such righteousness. Oh, my God. It is my privilege and pleasure to be able to visit online and talk to people who are just so incredibly righteous, never sin. As they're willing begrudgingly to basically crap all over their friends. Because, look, this is truth. I'll tell you this much. I think Nate did a great job breaking down the search warrant today, but I saw him on stream. I think he made a mistake. In fact, if I call this to his attention, this is one of the things I like about Nate, where he said that the yardstick, I saw him on stream with Sean, and he said the yardstick there, I don't know how he ended up talking about this. The yardstick there is, is it more likely or less likely, is it more likely or not, yes or no, that they'll find drugs if they go there? That's not the yardstick. That's a mistake on the legal standard. The legal standard is substantial likelihood. It can't be more likely than not. There's supposed to be that in order to justify a warrant, there has to be a substantial likelihood that you're going to find drugs there. And even with that, I say, you know what? If I was tasked with that, and this was thrown in front of me, and you don't tell me the name, blot out the names of the people here, and you say, do you think that this person substantial likelihood of drugs? I'd say, certainly possible. And you say to me, this other judge found that this was substantial. I'd be like, yeah, okay, I got it. And we know that under Minnesota law, you give deference to their findings. Heavy deference, like exceptional deference to their findings. So yeah, you're not going to get it overturned, in my opinion. I think it's crazy to think you will. I also think it's crazy not to ask to have it overturned based on that thing. Of course, you bring the motion, but that's not like this is our defense. This is the day is going to be saved over turning over the warrant. And if that's where you're going with this, oh my God, that's terrifying. That's really terrifying. So anyway, so I'm happy to back Nick legally. I think there's all sorts of issues that they have with respect to whose drugs they are, with respect to what happened with these claims, what the police were doing. And I can give 1,000 defenses in the world, legal defenses here on behalf of Nick Rekieta. And still I say, I want this guy to get counseling. I want him to be happy. I don't want him doing, I don't know if he's doing drugs, but there's someone in the house seems like, if I had to guess, someone in the house is. We all seen stuff which, I don't know. I have no independent knowledge at all. I'm simply saying counseling needs to happen somewhere here. I don't know. Maybe it's April. Maybe. So go through counseling anyway. If it's April, so Nick goes through counseling. Go through counseling. That'd be better. I don't know. Maybe it is hers. Maybe it's freaking Aaron. Maybe he left it behind there. I don't know. So if it's Aaron's and it's not his, and whatever it is that happened that last week, let's assume best case scenario, nothing to do at all with drugs. Okay, maybe. I don't know. Maybe he took some actual medication which basically effed him up with side effects. It's possible. You want to give him the benefit of the doubt? Very possible. You got to give a lot of benefits of the doubt here to assume that, he's got a lot of benefits of the doubt. So there's going to be jokes about him using drugs. That's just the nature of it. And he needs to get treatment. If only so that, just to make sure he's not touching anything that's in his house. And really, because let's face it, I want him to have a happy life. I want his wife to have a happy life. I want his kids to have a happy life. So just go through it. Just do it. Go through it. And some of the reactions I see online, oh my God. Some of the fighting that you see in Twitter, it's like some of it's sincere, some of it's not. And when I corrected Nate just now, I'm sure if he saw that, he'd be like, oh yeah, that's right, Joe. It is substantial likelihood, not preponderance of evidence. He would admit it. He was wrong. And I think people get a lot of bad information, unfortunately. Judge Juan Marchand is certainly bending over from mucho. I don't know if that's the case. I can't. Christine! Here we go. Thank you for the very generous. I'm going to give you another one, even though I'm nervous about what I started reading. I don't even know where this is going, but let's see what you got. Mr. Joe, are you on Telegram? Not really. Like it's on my phone, but I haven't. I think I have like 47,000 messages since the last time I opened it. Do you not see the spiritual blindness going on that Israel is facing? The God of this world, that great dragon, the devil, waging war against his anointed, because Yeshua HaMashiach is soon to return. Israel will say, Baruch haba b'shem Hashem. I thank you for the very generous super chat. I don't even know what to say to that. I don't know what to say to that. Yeah. Thanks. Mashiach? You know the word Mashiach? How do I phrase this? Like, I'm not looking to get into an argument with anyone here. The heat. I don't know where to start with this. There's so many places to start. The Hebrew word Mashiach, which people refer to in English as being Messiah. A lot of people don't know what the word Mashiach actually means. Meshuach, anointed one, which Kristen made that reference to anointed one, which is what made me think of this. She said, it's anointed. So the high priest was anointed. The high priest was anointed. The oil that was used for anointing was oil that was created by Moses. Okay? And it was only the oil he created, which was supposed to be used to anoint a priest. So when a priest became a high priest, he would be anointed with oil, his forehead. In Hebrew, the word for anointing is meshuach. And you really got to focus on the consonants. The m, the mem, which is an M sound, the shin, which has an SH sound, and the chet, or we say, Americans say ches, which has that sound that Americans struggle with. So, say meshuach, Mashiach, and that's the origin of the term Messiah, comes from that. I'm a little confused. The one thing I'm very confused about in your statement is we do believe in a Messiah that's going to be coming in the future. Just saying, when you refer to being anointed, the problem I have is that the oil that Moses had was lost. Like shortly after he died, like only a few high priests were actually anointed. So when they would make someone a new high priest, they would call him when they would be anointed, they would call him Kohen Mashiach, because he was anointed high priest. Once they lost the oil, they said, we're not doing the whole anointing thing anymore, which was like a couple hundred years after Moses died. So all the other high priests were not anointed. They were actually called Kohen Begadim, because the high priest, the regular priest, when they worked, they wore 4 articles of clothing, and the high priest wore 8. Begadim means clothing, so it's like the addition of added on that he wore an apron and a different type of hat, and that he had the headband thing, which you might remember from Raiders of the Lost Ark. So those are the high priest's clothing, so they called him that. I'm just like, but like no one's been anointed, as far as we know, since like 1,000 years before Jesus was born. Because Moses was 1,300 years before Jesus. I assume that's what you're referring to. What I'm saying is, when Jesus was alive, no one had been anointed in 1,000 years, because they didn't know where the oil was for like over 1,000 years. So that's why I'm a little confused by that reference. Just saying. Well, I guess y'all missed me tonight. Keep the stream down, okay? I'll do my best. Judge Cannon called out Jack Smith. The prosecution for political prosecution it isn't justice. It's a political weapon. That's true. I didn't even get to like the main part of my show yet. I'm 52 minutes in. I haven't gotten into it. Joe, I woke up this morning. I was humbled to see that some kind soul gifted me a membership. Stunned at my good fortune, my wife called me to the backyard, and I discovered 2 squirrels in a go devouring her garden. Joe, please tell me this is a coincidence. I don't know, Clifford. I'm very happy that someone gifted you. That's a nice thing to wake up to. And to the squirrel and goat. There you go. 2 squirrels and goat devouring her garden. I hope you didn't sacrifice the goat, because that would totally not be part of the following. That's certainly not as being part of the following. Look, if you want to sacrifice a goat, that's fine. It's just got no relation to the following, because the following is not at all a cult type of cult. Clifford found a goat. Joe made him the goat lord. Joe, read the chats, Nick Wood. I read the chats. I had to finish what I was doing. I had to finish. I can't lose in the middle. Is it just me, or is that ironic that everything Rackets warned about during the Legal Bites kerfuffle coming true now because of his actions? LawTube is eating itself. It's not eating itself. I don't see it as eating itself. It's not like we're part of some group. We know each other. It's not we're part of some group. And me, I'm not in fights with anyone. I can say you're being stupid, without like being like, I hate you. You know what I'm saying? I can do that. I can say you're being stupid without anyone taking it as me saying, I hate you. I can be like, that doesn't make no sense. Or your approach here is wrong. That's a good thing. If we're all agreeing with each other all the time, then why would you need the rest of these folks? You could just listen to me all the time. Gotta be honest, Joe. I was really hoping the call be interested in my spaceship. Super disappointed. You should be. Yeah, it's just reality. I had to alert you to it. Just for fun, the drunk peasants are hysterically presenting Aaron Imholte's grift on Nick. The drunk peasants presenting Aaron Imholte's grift on Nick. I don't know. I'm not sure what that means. To be honest with you, not 100% sure I know what that means. Sort of think I understand. What part of his? I do think it's cloud chasing. What we see there. The whole thing just seems like cloud chasing. A lot of times come a joke with all this Nick crap. It's become chaotic. Nothing good comes from chaos. We cannot have any impact on outcome. People want to know. They just want to know. It's like this is someone they care about. They just want to know. They want to know, like, what's the right thing to do? What does the law say over here? What's happening with him to get better? What's the right thing? And as it happens, he's a very polarizing figure. He became a polarizing figure over the last year or so. And then how you deal with someone who seems to have a pretty serious addiction issue, like what's the proper way of dealing with that? So that's where you have all these different conflicts. I mean, it's predictable. Well, as long as Nick becomes his own lawyer while impersonating an in-house lawyer, the whole time it's all worth it. Well, nice rant. I agree. Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate that. The world would be a lot better place if everyone agreed with me all the time. Christ comes from the ancient Greek Christos, meaning anointed as well. That's true. I never understood that. That's right. Christians are saying the same thing, but think it means savior. It's an interesting thing, but Christ does come from Christos, which means the same thing as far as being anointed. I never understood the whole Jesus anointed thing. Like, seriously. Like, what? Unless there's some sort of thing that he's anointed in blood or something, which is possible that some Christians believe that. What I'm saying is the concept of there being an anointing. I don't know, and I'm not speculating. I'm just guessing. I don't know where anointing to Jews always meant oil. Anointing with oil, and that was a higher status that we were talking about. I just don't know what that means in it. Joe, what's wrong with people that they cheer a failure of a man, a husband, and father of 5? I pray that he's lifted. He's lifted and returned to health and strength. I don't know why they would cheer for anyone's demise. I think that there's a darkness which leads to that. Will we have a dramatic reading of the closing arguments tonight? No, because I don't have a transcript. It won't be a dramatic reading. I'm going to go through what the arguments were, and there's a lot to go through. Let's get moving. I got to get moving here. We're already an hour in. I'm so far behind. And I haven't even talked to you about Robert the Nutso. So let's start this. This is how this morning started from outside the courtroom. Biden having a press conference. What's this? Sorry. It's actually Robert DeNiro. On over. Why is he wearing a freaking mask? What the hell's happening here? Why is he wearing a mask? When I first started watching this, I really thought it was Biden, but it's like, oh, different. Look at this guy. He's got like all his bodyguards around him. I don't know what's happening. All these people kissing up to him. All right. Anyway, let's go forward with his speech. Here we go.
Beside all that, this is.
Now I don't have the beginning of this. But we'll hear. This was what was shared by one of his fans, thinking he's amazing. He's amazing.
Beside all that, this is my neighborhood.
Oh, to your neighborhood.
Downtown New York City. I grew up here and feel at home in these streets. I feel comfortable. The Twin Towers fell just over here, just over there. This part of the city was like a ghost town. But we vowed we would not allow terrorists to change our way of life.
You know where he's going. You know where he's going. Trump is a terrorist. Trump is a terrorist.
And we started the Tribeca Festival to bring people back. I love this city. I love this city. I don't
Like, did you write this yourself?
want to destroy it.
Why are you here when when jury's going to deliberations? Who the hell do you think you are?
Donald Trump wants to destroy not only the city, but the country, and eventually he could destroy the world.
Oh, that's what he wants to do. That's a very sane take right there. That's clearly his objective. It's part of Agenda 47.
But we vowed we would not allow terrorists.
Whoops. Didn't really write that properly. He needs better script writers. That's the problem here. Where's that guy who did the screenplay for Goodfellas? Because he was great in Goodfellas. He was great in Goodfellas. He was great there. Where's the script writers? Is there a strike? Is there another strike I didn't know about?
I owe this city a lot.
He said that.
And that's why it's so weird that Donald Trump is just across the street.
What?
Because he doesn't belong in my city.
Oh, in your city. Oh, this is your city. No, you don't belong in New York City, okay? No, it's my city. You don't belong there. Get the hell out of New York, okay? You don't belong there. You're some Hollywood greaseball. And when I say greaseball, I mean like slime ball. I want to be 100% clear about that. No, don't make any mistakes about that. I really did mean slime ball. I didn't mean anything. But he's some greasy, slimy, like slithering around Hollywood with all the fake people saying, "Oh, New York is my city. Oh, New York is my city." It's not your freaking city. Get the hell out of here. Go back to Hollywood, you fake plastic empty shell.
I don't know where he belongs, but he certainly doesn't belong here.
He belongs here more than you do. He lived here a lot longer than you did. A lot longer than you did.
We New Yorkers used to tolerate him when he was just another grubby real estate hustler masquerading.
No, not tolerate. Herald him. How many times did you win awards from the NAACP for your contributions to the black community, you self-involved prick?
As a big shot, a two-bit playboy lying his way into the tabloids, pretending to be a spokesperson for himself.
No, he never was, actually. Unless it was Jesse Jackson who was cheering him on for his great job in raising the black community, for different programs that he helped for troubled black youth. How much money did you give to them? How much? How much did you give to them? Self-involved jackass.
He was calling it as himself for himself, to fool the press into inflating his net worth. A clown. But this city is pretty accommodating. We make room for clowns.
Hence, why I'm getting a press conference in downtown New York, even though I live across the country.
We have them all over the city. People who do crazy things in the street, we tolerate it. It's part of this.
We. Oh, stop like you're some... Where the hell... Where do you live now? What part of Malibu do you live in now, jackass? We tolerate. Where the hell have you been?
City, it's part of the culture, but not a person like Trump who will eventually run.
I guarantee you he has not lived in New York City this century. This century he has not lived in New York City.
The country. That does not work, and we all know that.
I guarantee you I've spent many more years living in New York City than Robert DeNiro did. Self-involved jackass.
Anyway, we make
Blow
room
hard.
for clowns, to each his own.
Yeah, say that again.
But no one takes
Say it again.
him or took him really seriously. They take him seriously now, of course. But around the country, people who didn't know him, as we did, started to support him. They bought into his bull.
As we did. Everyone loved him in 2014. Everybody. Where were you yelling about what a clown he was in 2014? Or was that just your standard kiss up that you were doing to him, the way you kiss up to everyone around you in Hollywood?
Bullshit. Trump bought their votes with outrageous lies and empty promises.
Which he delivered on, weirdly enough.
He got the most religious evangelicals to applaud a sinner who bragged about sexual assault and who just...
No, he didn't. He didn't. He actually didn't say he did it. He said, people, you can, as in he's witnessed it.
A couple of blocks from here, a jury found him liable for sexual abuse.
Yeah, of 30-year-old claims from somebody who never reported it and didn't even remember what year it happened in.
Somehow, he even got self-styled patriots to support a man who called for terminating the Constitution, and on January 6th, rallied an angry mob to threaten democracy, leaving death and destruction in its wake.
No, he did not rally them. That's why he hasn't been charged with incitement. If he had rallied them, trust me, he would have been charged. That would have been the first charge we all would have seen.
That's why I needed to be involved and wanted to be involved in the new Biden-Harris era.
Save us, Hollywood! Save us, Hollywood! Oh, with your insight. Thank you for your insight, Hollywood.
Because it shows the violence of Trump and reminds us that he'll use violence against anyone who stands in the way of his megalomania and greed.
This is a guy who made a career out of playing violent figures. Literally a career. I defy you, outside of those stupid Ben Stiller movies, come up with a movie that he was in that he wasn't some violent felon. Even in that, he looked sort of deranged the entire time, like the menacing father-in-law. But yeah, I mean, literally made a career. The only reason anyone knows who he is because he bathed in celebrating violence. And I understand that's not the same thing as actually engaging in violence, but here's the thing. Neither has Trump, and he hasn't even faked it. He's not known for it. He's not known for being that menacing figure other than what the left portrays him as.
But it's a coward's violence. You think Trump ever threw a punch himself?
You think? Have you? How many stunt doubles you have? When does he encourage violence?
Or took one? This guy who ran and hid in the White House bunker when there were protesters outside? No way.
Yeah, that's what he should have done. He should have gone out there and just started throwing fists. That's what he should have done. A lunatic.
He doesn't get blood on his hands. No, he doesn't. He directs the mob to do his dirty work for him by making a suggestion.
Oh, yeah, suggestion.
An inference. And his gang grovels and follows his obvious order. It's no surprise that the murder rate and other violent crimes peaked under Trump.
No, they didn't. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It got much worse under Biden, jackass.
Falling under Biden.
No.
And now.
No. They're just. No. Oh, my God. You gaslighting doofus. Not until the summer of love.
He's promising to use our own military to attack U.S. citizens.
What are you talking about? What is that about?
That's the tyrant.
What U.S. citizens is he promising to use the military against? Which ones? Name a name. Give us a name of one person who's imperiled, who's in jeopardy. Name the U.S. citizen who's imperiled if he wins.
That's the tyrant he's telling us he'll be.
No.
And believe me, he means it.
He means it. He's never said it, but he means it.
When Trump ran in 2016, it was like a joke. This buffoon running for president. No, never could happen.
And
we'd forgotten the lessons of history that showed us other clowns who weren't taken seriously until they became vicious dictators.
Here we go.
With Trump,
he's like
we had
Adolf.
A second chance.
He's like Adolf.
And no one is laughing now. This is the time to stop him.
No, you're
by
on
voting
it.
him out once and for all.
You're on it.
We don't
voting him out. By what? By in downtown New York? Is that where he's being voted out with these corrupt charges? Talk about tyranny. Weaponizing the DOJ against the former president and against your biggest rival, your biggest threat, and weaponizing meeting with all these different DAs in the White House. Please, you're sitting here claiming that Trump is the tyrant. My God, the hypocrisy.
I don't want to wake up after the election saying, what, again?
No one's going to wake up saying, well, maybe you'll say that, but most Americans will be like, thank God.
My God, what the hell have we done? We can't have that happen again.
Oh, shut up.
Yesterday was Memorial Day. It's a good time to reflect on how Americans fought and died so that we may enjoy the freedoms guaranteed to us by a democratic government. A government that, as President Lincoln said, of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Under Trump, this kind of government will perish from the earth. I don't mean to scare you. No.
You're scary. Trust me, the only reason I'm scared is that there aren't like people with white coats around you to stop you. Because you're kind of scary.
No, wait, maybe I do mean to scare you.
Oh, okay. Good job then.
If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye that we all take for granted.
Adios, freedoms.
And elections, forget about it.
Forget about it.
That's done.
That's
if he
done.
Gets in,
that's over.
I can tell you right now, he will never leave.
Oh, he'll never leave. There's no way to ever get rid of him. What are we going to do? Just like he didn't leave in 2025 when he refused to leave? Remember when that happened? Oh, my God. Well, he'll never leave. He will never leave. Will you ever leave? Will you ever leave?
You know that.
No, nobody knows that. Literally 0 people believe that, for real. You don't even believe that.
He will never leave. What does that mean? Is that the country we want to live in? Do we want him running this country and saying, I'm not leaving, I'm dictator for life?
Yes, I'm dictator for life! For life! Please make sure you like, and if you're enjoying the commentary and coverage here, I would appreciate it if you can like and subscribe. Believe it or not, I'm actually on an upswing. I'm like surging toward 100,000. Surging. People tell me I need to become the Pope of LawTube. You need an interim Pope. Is there going to be like a whole smoke thing going up? I'm going to come out there with my they come out there with the big white hat. I don't think that's happening. I'm not a de facto law pope. No, and I'm not the leader. I'm not even the leader of the following. I'm not. Trust me, I'm not meant to be a leader, but I am meant to get to 100,000 subs. Like, no. I'm Pope. No. Presidente. No. Attorney General. Maybe. Leader of the following. No. And definitely not a Pope. No. But if you can, like and subscribe, and maybe check out Locals, which is goodlogic.locals.com. That would be cool. That'd be cool. You can also, by the way, you can follow even on Rumble. You know, Rumble's a cool place. I got 11,700 followers on Rumble. That's kind of cool. That's kind of nice. I don't like that. But so DeNiro is going to continue scaring us because he's never going to leave. I love the horn going in the background.
I hope this new ad campaign reaches outside the bubble to remind supporters of what a danger he is to our lives.
Reaches outside the bubble? Oh, in other words, it's like instead of like the clowns who are listening to you day after day scream, he's never going to leave, that now your new ad campaign is just going to reach outside the bubble. All right. Your echo chamber is pretty titanium.
This is not a threat. This is a reality. And that's why I've joined the Biden-Harris campaign, because the only way to preserve our freedoms and hold on to our humanity is to vote for Joe Biden for president.
Imagine being so degraded that you're actually sitting here saying that voting for Joe Biden for president is holding on to humanity. It's like, yeah, the only way, if we get the Crypt Keeper and we keep him for another 4 years, that's the only way to hold on to our humanity. Imagine having to say that with a straight face. Maybe this is his best acting performance ever.
Really?
Really?
We don't have a choice.
We don't.
On January 6th, while Republican lawmakers despicably tried to keep the loser Trump, in the White House, and Trump-inspired insurrectionists stormed the Capitol.
Nope. Factually and legally false.
Brave men and women from law enforcement put their lives on the line to defend this country.
Did they?
Our democracy.
Because otherwise the country would have fallen. It would have fallen right then and there to all those unarmed, those couple of hundred unarmed people would have just taken over all 70 million square acres of the United States just would have fallen under their domain. They had it. It was that close. It was that close. You held.
They are the true heroes. These guys are the true heroes.
These two.
They stood and put their lives on the line.
Did they?
For these low lives.
Did they?
Trump.
For Trump, how would they put their low life for Trump? They're guarding the Capitol. How they put their life? What? What are you saying? That's not even coherent. That's not English.
They lied under oath.
They lied under oath.
They lied under oath.
Right.
Who lied under oath? What are you telling me?
Those two traitors
Those two traitors behind you lied under oath. Whoops. Who are these folks? You guys know who those two dudes are? Who are those two liars? You guys know who these two liars are behind him? So awesome. They're just random. No, I think these guys are known. This is great. This is great. This is so good.
Who lied under oath? What are you telling me?
Those two traitors behind you.
Excuse me?
Those two traitors behind you.
They lied under oath?
That's right.
What are you saying?
They're traitors.
You just heard them.
They're traitors.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't even know how to deal with you, my friend. I don't even know how to deal with you.
Well, because just facts are frustrating when you're trying to gaslight. So I don't know how to deal with you.
They stood there. They didn't have to. And there were other ones in there who probably were in with them a little bit too, and they found a way to get around. Not these guys. They stood there and fought for us, for you.
They're just
For
1-6
you.
Capitol Police.
They weren't fighting for me.
No, they fought for you, buddy. You're able to stand right here now.
They'd be able to stand there right now if they weren't there. How are they? He said he's fighting to protect Trump, but then you're saying Trump is the one who incited them against him. What are you saying? It's like his speech was written by Biden. Biden's like, they fought for Trump and they fought for that coward. What? And if without them, democracy would be over. There'd be no democracy. It would have been the end of democracy.
They are the true heroes. I'm honored to be with these two heroes today, from former Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn and former Metropolitan Police Officer Michael Fanone.
That did not end the way that he wanted it to end. He's like, wait, everyone's just supposed to be applauding me. Where's the applause? It's like they always play the music afterwards. I don't understand what's happening here. Well, anyway, so New Yorkers were very enamored with the speech that he gave here, and they all decided to give him a giant Bronx cheer for the wonderful job in the speech that he gave right after he finished, as caught by Freedom News TV.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Walk you touch kids! You touch kids! You loser! Fuck you! Suck my dick! Your mother should have swallowed!
Language.
Watch out, watch your back.
We're trying to be gentlemen in this world. The Democrats. You are gangsters.
Excuse me.
You are gangsters. You're washed up. Fuck you.
Honestly, I think that first one was some trans women saying F you to Robert and Nutso.
You're a softie. You're a nobody.
You suck. Your movies suck.
You're trash. You're done. You're done after this, my guy.
Oh my God. You can see it's pretty much like the red carpet right there.
Fuck you, DeNiro. He's gonna go to jail. That's why he's so worried. When Trump goes,
Guys, back up.
you're a fucking mook. M-O-O-K. Mook. You're a traitor to your town.
What is a mook? I've heard people use that term. It's such a New York. I think it's such a New York word. I've heard it my whole life. You stupid mook. What does it mean? Nobody knows. Foolish, insignificant, or contemptible person. That's what they say. Foolish, insignificant, freaking mook. Oh my God, this guy's great. You mook. That's a real New Yorker word right there. I grew up hearing that word so many times. I haven't heard that word in like 20 years.
You're a fucking mook. M-O-O-K. Mook.
Seriously, I've been living in Jersey for like the last 20 years. I haven't heard mook since I got here, and I've missed it. I've really missed mook.
You're a traitor to Italian and Jews. You're a traitor to Italian Jews. You fucking cunt. Cunt. You are a cunt. Bobby DeNiro, you're a fucking cunt. Fuck you fucking piece of shit. He's a mook. M-O-O-K. Robert DeNiro.
Oh my God. Wow. Wow. Tear him out of there. Where's all the applause he expected? Where's all the applause? All the applause. He's like, we're out of here. Hit the gas. Go, 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 go. That's in New York. In New York. They're cursing out Robert De Niro for making his whole, like, I'm with Biden and Kamala Harris. That's in New York, for crying out loud. I'm telling you right now, Trump's winning New York. He's winning New York. He's winning New York. That's what's happening. Look, it's so early. I mean, the election's not for another, what, 3 months still? More than that. 6 months, 5.5 months. It's a long time away. I'm just telling you, right now, election today, Trump wins New York. He wins New York. He chased Robert De Niro out of town. Guess it's not your home anymore. I don't know. I'm a New Yorker. I'm a New Yorker. Oh, yeah, I'm a New Yorker. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. So is Malibu Ken. Malibu Ken is also in New York. Just like you and Malibu Ken there, Bobby the Nutso. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That was great. That was so great. Viola Pride hit with the rant saying Trump turns into a dictator that never leaves. He'd go down in history as the best dictator ever. It's true. He really would. Oh my God. That'd be amazing. That would be amazing. Maybe it's a goods warrant, but it's good that someone can say, I'm leaving during the sermon can be used. CPS is terrifying. Yeah, that was weird also. There's so many weird things. And also that they're assessing his relationship with another couple. Like, who the hell are you? Like, shut up. Seriously, Karen. Not you, Mary, obviously. But it's like it's like they have a weird relationship with another couple. I mean, I guess one of them is Aaron Imholt. So, you know, maybe that was the insight. I don't know. We need to build a wall, make this guy pay for it. Yes, I like that idea a lot. Robert Taquiro. De Niro is turd, but don't worry, Scro. There's plenty of turds out there living really kicks lives. My first wife was turded. She's a pilot now. There's a tot, but don't worry, Scro. Plenty of tots out there living really kick-ass lives. My first wife was turded. She's a pilot now. Idiocracy is the best. I wonder how much hush money DeNiro paid when he got arrested in France for questions about prostitution ring in the 2019 sex harassment suit he was in. What a hypocrite. Lincoln to Democrats is a Republican who identifies as Democrat. But wait, Democrats were slave owners in the 1800s. Yeah, they don't like me reminded of that. Don't you know there was a whole switch in the 60s? Everyone knows there was a whole switch where like four people in the entire Congress switched. He won't leave like in 2020. That was my point. So Christ's origin, you say, a week before death, women anointed Jesus with oil and dried his feet with their hair to show him great honor. Identities vary by gospel. Now that's something I did not know. I did not know that. Now we understand. Thank you. I can't hear a word Bobby's saying with a massive crowd of supporters cheering on. That was Oreo Express asking the questions, done in Fatone DC cops. Oh, there are lawyers. They're the 1-6 police. Rhonda, hey, remember for 1 month. Joe, they're J6 cop testifying in front of Congress. Oh, that's what it is. Okay. Remember Ashley Babbitt? She was ended by one of those idiots behind. Oh, really? No, I thought that was some black dude who his last name started with a W. I think you're mistaken. It was like a darker skinned black dude than that big guy there. I don't think that was him. I think you're mistaken on that one, Felix. Never underestimate the power of unarmed tourists. New member of the following. Welcome to the following. The following is not at all a cult type of cult. Everyone knows that. Not at all a cult. No. So in case you think this means now, oh gosh, when's the whole festival? We're going to go out to the forest and there's going to be a big bonfire. We're going to go dancing to the beat of tom-toms while shucking our clothing off as we go dancing around and just wee and singing to Tituba and stuff. That's not part of the following. Okay, that's not part, because the following is not a cult type of cult. And no, I'm not the leader of the following. Harry Dunn freaked out during the J6 riot. Oh, is that what happened? Look who the Libertarian Party chose. The decision was basically handed the Libertarian vote over Trump by having an even worse choice than Biden. I spent a good period of time yesterday talking about Chase Oliver. I suggest you check out my stream from last night where I did my breakdown of the Libertarian candidate and speculated this is practically better than nominating Trump. Is naming that commie trans loving individual. I'm trying to keep this one monetized. Last night, I gave enough coverage to that last night that I got demonetized and was like, I'm not going to fight this one. This one I'm not going to fight. You want to send me yellow on this one? I got it. I'm not going to argue on this one. That was last night when I was talking about Chase Oliver. And finally, do I have it here? I do have it here. Not everyone was anything less but fully enchanted with Robert De Niro's speech. Some people from outside New York seem to appreciate it more.
Robert De Niro, you're a hero. De Niro, hero. It rhymes and it's so beautiful. Did you see Robert De Niro come out and he just stood there like the gangster that he is and just ripped Trump a new butthole? I was trying to say hole, but you can't put those words together. He just came out there and just told the truth. Like, you put him back in the White House, he is never going to leave. He's never going to leave. And all the, like, little orange minions are like, oh, you suck, your movies suck. Well, those are the same people that, like, forever was like, De Niro, oh my God, he's an actor's actor. And now they're like, oh, he doesn't agree with us, so he's a pussy. Oh, well, it's just hysterical to watch these Trump tards just lose their freaking minds. Because we all know Biden is the man that we need to
keep this country safe and sane. Sane. Trump is not sane. His followers are not sane. There's like some kind of cult where they just want to put people like me and people like you on some island and let us starve and rot away. But DeNiro was man enough to stand up to all this. And now they're like, describe DeNiro in one word. Delusional. Has been. I'll describe him in one word. Patriot. That's right. He's a real patriot.
If you're unaware, this pink hat dude is satire. I know he's satire. He is. He's satire. He is satire. So, anyhow, that is Steve Mudflap. I haven't seen him in like 4 years, but I recognize his face. He had the pink hats back then too. He's been wearing that pink hat for the last 4 years. There's no Kool-Aid, but it is what it is. There's lemonade. As America has done to Israel. Here we go. There's a book I'm reading. The author postulates that our severe weather is connected to U.S.-Israel policy in Washington. Love Israel, I'll bless you. Hate Israel, I will curse you. There you go. There you go. So, severe weather is connected to U.S.-Israeli policy. Obviously, hello. Why would anyone think otherwise? I did not cover the Fed charges she may face. No, that's not what I covered. I covered how the Georgia election, in the very beginning, I covered how the Georgia election may be overturned as a result of her bringing this prosecution, which to me, that's friggin' hilarious. All right. All right, so let's get into it. I have not yet heard their arguments. I do know that Judge Merchan apparently issued some rulings as to like how broad it is for that the jury is allowed to find him liable, and it is just so many examples of judicial error. So many examples. So many examples of potential judicial error that I'll tell you right now. I sort of question. I almost question if this weren't a New York judge, because I wouldn't believe it of a New York judge. Never. So that's definitely not what's happening here. That's not what's happening here. But there's so many examples of judicial error that if this was happening in any other jurisdiction, it's definitely not applying to Judge Merchan at all. I'm a New York attorney, a member of the New York Bar, so I understand the integrity of our New York judiciary. So it's definitely not talking about Judge Merchan here. If it was any other jurisdiction, I would think that it's almost like, look, we just want a guilty verdict. We know it's never going to, there's so many rulings here that are just right to overturn it. But for political purposes, it just benefits Biden if we can refer to him as convicted felon. So we'll let the appellate court sort it out sometime down the road. Let's just do whatever we can to get 12 people to unanimously agree that he's guilty. That's what I would think if this was happening in a different jurisdiction. That's what I would think is what was happening here. I don't think that's what Judge Merchan is doing it because I understand the integrity of our New York judicial system. So I don't think that's what he's doing. But if this happened in any other jurisdiction, I might come to that conclusion. I have enough familiarity with the New York judiciary and the fact that it's beyond reproach to know that that's not what's happening here. If I saw this in another jurisdiction, that is something I might have concerns about. I mean, let's put it this way. Even CNN is like, how the hell are they going to find him guilty? On CNN, anchor Jay Tapper says to legal expert, I don't know that the prosecutors have proved beyond reasonable doubt that Donald Trump knew anything about this payment. Legal expert responded, they have not. That is, in fact, reasonable doubt. Do we have a directed verdict? No. Ponderous. It is ponderous. Almost 1,000 people over on Rumble, and still not even 100 likes. What does a man have to do? What does a man have to do? The Rumble folks, they're hard. You guys are so hard. Gosh. Ghetto is so rough. So rough. 1,000 people in there now. 1,002. And 91 likes. It's wrong. All right, let's get into. Is this what I wanted? That wasn't it. That wasn't it. This is what I wanted. All right, here we go. Inner City Press. Let's get to it. All rise, clerk. This is the people of the state of New York versus Donald J. Trump. Justice Merchan says, you got the court's proposed charges on Thursday. I didn't hear from either one of you. How long will arguments be? 2.5. That's what Blanche. Oh, my God. We'll have to be somewhat responsive. So 4 to 4.5 hours. We'll see if we can get it all in today. If the jurors can stay late, if they can, we'll stay too. On mine, stay away from the law in your closings. Wait just a freaking second here. You said that the whole issue as to the law, as to the fact that the law about NDAs being perfectly, hush money payments being perfectly legal is something they can bring up in closing arguments. Now you're saying stay away from the law? What are you doing? I don't understand you. Jury entering. Merchant says, you will now hear summations, defense first. Todd Blanche. So defense goes first. Okay. Trump's lawyer Blanche just showed jurors slides. I hope everyone had a nice long weekend. We all thank you for your service. You all decide the facts. Trump is innocent. He did not commit any crimes. The DA has not met his burden of proof. As I told you 5 weeks ago on April 22nd, you should want and expect more than the testimony of Michael Cohen. You should expect more than Keith Davidson, who is trying to extort President Trump. It's true. Trying to extort for Stormy Daniels. This case is about documents. It's a paper case. It's not about an encounter with Stormy Daniels 18 years ago that President Trump denies. This is about whether Trump, while living in the White House in D.C. as leader of the free world, was responsible for book ledgers in New York. I love this opening. I'm reading this. This is my first impression now. Great job drawing the contrast. He's charged with handling book records in New York while he's sitting in the White House, which were accurate and also not intended to influence the election. Let's talk about the evidence. The invoices were all submitted by Michael Cohen. You cannot convict President Trump on the word of Michael Cohen. He claims contacts with Schiller, Dylan Howard, Alan Weisberg. None of them called as witnesses. Why wouldn't you call them? Where are they? Cohen told lies, pure and simple. You would have to find that the documents contain falsehoods and that President Trump intended to defraud. Let's talk about Michael Cohen's invoices. The staff at Trump Tower only stamped them. Deb Tarasov told you she went with that Michael Cohen put on the invoices. The information on the check was auto-generated, driven by invoices. Some were emails, some were attachments. All were directed to Alan Weisselberg, not President Trump. How does he even know about these payments? No fault of her own. Deb Tarasov couldn't remember whether she stapled those particular invoices. She never did anything at the direction of President Trump. Cohen wrote for services rendered, not repayment of a debt. And he was rendering services in 2017, no question. There's no argument. Michael Cohen admitted that he rendered services in 2017. Michael Cohen still was providing services. May 2017, he wrote, call me to discuss the last open foundation matter. There was litigation from Summer Zervos. That's only 2 examples. Even if it was minimal, there's a retainer agreement. You have to pay. We all know Mike Cohen took over $1 million from Novartis for 6 phone calls. It's not how much work you did. Did you earn $400,000? It's a contract, and no matter how much you use the guy's services, you pay him, just like Novartis paid him. Anything wrong with that? Michael Cohen bragged about his role as President Trump's personal attorney to Sean Hannity. Mr. Cohen told you lies. A lie is a lie. Mr. Weisberg asked Cohen for the agreement. You know, the fact that there was a verbal retainer agreement is consistent with another lawyer you heard from, Keith Davidson. Also, Mr. McConney, not a lawyer, he told you of verbal retainers. What makes more sense, that President Trump was paying his personal lawyer $35,000, or that Mike Cohen would work for free without telling anyone? I worked for free. In life, usually the simplest answer is the right one. Cohen lied. I work for free. There is no information that President Trump knew about any. This is such a great closing, by the way. I love the way Blanche is doing this. Everything he's doing here is great. Like really great. Really, this is just powerfully good. So good. Because he charged $420,000 and he explained, well, they owe me 130, and then Weisberg said, let's double it. Oh, they owe me 180 because it was Redfinch also. He said, let's double it, so that's 360, and then we'll just tack on another 60,000. Oh yeah, and I didn't really lay out 60,000. I didn't really lay out the full. It was 130 that went up by 50 because of Redfinch. I didn't really pay 50 to Redfinch. I really only paid him 20. But I told them I paid 50, and back for the 50 I laid out there, 100. The 50 I didn't lay out there, 100 plus 60,000. Unbelievable. There's no information that President Trump knew anything about this voucher system. I don't know how the government is going to address that. With quotes from a book with ghostwriters a decade earlier, that's a red flag. It was booked as legal services, as they did with anything submitted by a lawyer. There was no other way to categorize it. The government calls it a crime. That's absurd. It's not a crime. Mr. McConney said so. I see what you did there. I see what you did. It's a drop-down menu, legal expense. The government claimed it was a cover-up. That's not what the evidence showed. If there was a conspiracy, no reason to get approval from Don Jr. and Eric. You don't need to hear from either of them. You did not hear from either of them. After a few months, they moved Cohen, as personal attorney, from the trust to President Trump himself. There are 11 checks. The first 2 were not signed by President Trump. Those checks have none of Mr. Cohen lawyer, just retainer. 2 witnesses told you President Trump was very busy. He was running the country. Sometimes he looks at checks, sometimes not. Same with Federal Express. First Lady Ivanka also got info that way. Nothing sinister. And he shows a slide which said the case turns on Cohen. The government is asking you to convict President Trump on the word of Michael Cohen. For 5 weeks, they asked you to believe Cohen. Cohen asked you to believe he was going to work for free. Do you believe that? Red Finch is absolutely a lie. The gross it up is a lie. Cohen told you he had no idea and that he didn't even care. The government's going to suggest some sort of tax scheme, but there's been no proof, not even testimony from Mr. Cohen. Cohen told you about his visit to the White House in February 2017 and claims that President Trump only spoke about the checks. But only 6 days later, Cohen emailed McConney, remind me of the monthly amounts? It's got a whole conversation about the checks, and he doesn't remember it 6 days later, the monthly amounts. For all those reasons, Trump is not guilty. But I expect you'll never, from Judge Merchan, that's a conscious intent to defraud would have to be shown. Is he saying you'll never hear from Judge? It can't be. The Trump org reported this on a 1099. Nothing false or misleading. McConney told you, no way to distinguish on the 1099 form, so no intent to defraud. But even if you get to anything about intent to influence the election, the prosecution fails. They say that in 2017, he was influencing an election he already won. What does that even mean? Every campaign is a conspiracy to seek to win an election. You have to find unlawful means. I expect they'll try to argue that August 2015 meeting with Mr. Pecker began a conspiracy. Supposedly, Hope Hicks was there. You heard AMI would do what it could. That AMI is the Inquirer. AMI has been doing that for President Trump since the 1990s. They purchased stories for Tiger Woods, Mark Wahlberg. Many politicians work with the media to promote their image. It's their AMI standard operating procedure. This is not a crime. Pecker told you that he did it for Arnold Schwarzenegger. No charges were brought. He did it for Rahm Emanuel in the Illinois election. No claims that laws were broken. That's why. Objection! Sustained. Sorry, I told you I'm finding a cold. It's just a cold. Becker suppressed the story of President Trump in 1988. 1988! It's been going on for years. It was good business for AMI. August 2015 was just a general discussion. The slide saying no election influence, and that Ted Cruz and other stories. At the August 2015 meeting, they didn't discuss any catch and kill or any financial arrangement. Anyway, there's nothing abnormal about catching and killing. Becker told you he only published half of the stories he bought. Let's talk about Dino Sajidin, the doorman. The love child story was entirely false. Pecker said if true, he would have published it. Doesn't sound like catch and kill. He only talked with Mr. Cohen about it. So what kind of catch and kill conspiracy is that? Pecker was going to publish if it had been true. Cohen admitted he had been following the trial. That's why he said again and again that he wanted credit. McDougal? No Trump. Oh, it's Karen McDougal. No Trump money paid. Miss McDougal did not want her story to come out, so not a catch and kill. A friend had forced her hand and publicized her allegations. The government was alleging a conspiracy to influence the election, but she didn't want it out. Pecker told you he spoke with a lawyer. Objection! Sustained. Mr. Pecker has an immunity agreement with the prosecutors. AMI's deal is probative of nothing. Objection! What is the objection? What is the objection? I don't know why he's objecting. I don't know why he's sustaining. I don't know what the hell's happening here. Oh my God.
Beside all that, this is my neighborhood, downtown New York City.
Sorry.
I grew up here and feel at home in these streets.
I don't know how that happened.
I feel comfortable. The Twin Towers fell just over here, just over there. This part of...
I don't know why that started playing again. Sorry about that. Let's get back to work. Mr. Pecker was an investor meeting in New Jersey with Chatham Asset Management. And President Trump said, I don't buy stories. But Cohen claims President Trump said, no problem, I'll take care of it. That's a big difference. These are the two witnesses that the state brings, conflicting each other. Mr. Cohen is lying, including about a lunch, but Mr. Pecker never mentioned it. There are no receipts, but key meetings are remembered with clarity. By Mr. Cohen from 2016. What about the recording of President Trump? A lawyer doing this. Cohen said he recorded in order to play it for Mr. Pecker, but he never played it for Pecker. And although Ronald Graff was supposedly there, they didn't ask her any questions about it, including about why it was cut off. These are good questions. Why didn't they ask this witness about it? On the recording, you hear someone say, check, as the beginning of a sentence. It's clearly the beginning of a sentence we will never know. At the end, it's Don or Dawn. It's not clear. It's not in the transcript. Mr. Cohen claims he stopped his super important recording of his client to take a call from Capital One Bank. The form said NIOP, CFNA, VM. That is, it went to voicemail. Call forwarded, no answer. He claims he answered it. He lied when he said he answered it. Stormy Daniels, she denied the incident took place. It was published in 2011. So how could this issue have influenced the election? What happened there? There were people who wanted to extort money from President Trump. Miss Rodriguez, Davidson. Matt Cohen paid it on his own because he was worried about his future. The only person who says President Trump knew is Michael Cohen. And you cannot believe the word of Michael Cohen. Dylan Howard conspired with Stormy Daniels and Gina Rodriguez to get money from President Trump. You never heard from Howard or Rodriguez. Davidson, you heard of his plot to extort Hulk Hogan. Davidson worked with sex tape broker. Davidson did this to others, Lindsay Lohan. Here's the tape after the election. We lose all effing leverage, so settle this effing case now. What you have here? Objections. What's the problem? Let's take a break. Why is he objecting? Why are you sustaining it? What's happening? Blanche says he has a half hour left. Jury's sake, work late. We might have to take a snack break. All right. What happened with Stormy Daniels in 2016? Consistent with the conspiracy, the prosecutors tell you President Trump, Mr. Pecker, and Cohen entered into in 2015. So let's look at it. Miss Daniels repeatedly denied there was any sex with President Trump. Daniels tells you that she only denied it due to a threat that she says was made to her in a parking lot in 2011. But they were lying about the threats. They were trying to get money in the fall of 2016. What happened in 2018? Larry Flint offered to pay her legal fees. Then she had a podcast and a book and a documentary. It ended well for Miss Daniels, financially speaking. There's nothing criminal about a non-disclosure agreement. After Access Hollywood came out, they seized an opportunity. October 8th, 2016, Rodriguez reminded Mr. Howard about Miss Daniels. Howard thought AMI, Mr. Pecker, would pay. Pecker and AMI said, no, we're not paying. He had no interest in paying. That's what he testified. That's our conspiracy? He says, I'm not going to pay? The Access Hollywood 2005 tape was personal to President Trump. No one wants their family exposed into that type of story. Hope Hicks told you he was concerned about his wife. Their witness said he was concerned about his wife. Mr. Westerhout told you President Trump didn't freak out about the Access Hollywood tape. Let's listen to Matt Cohen, to Davidson. Cohen, what about me? It wasn't going to play Pennywise, pound foolish. So Cohen didn't tell President Trump. Cohen said, the amount is not really significant. He had multiple multi-million-dollar apartments. Cohen lied to you that he didn't want a job in the administration. Cohen told Davidson he was in the running for AG, or Chief of Staff. By the way, I'm also in the running for AG in 2025. I'm in the running. Tell me that wouldn't be a massive upgrade from Merrick Garland. Tell me it would not be perhaps the greatest upgrade in the history of AG transitions, going from Merrick Garland to Joe Neerman. Tell me that would not be the greatest upgrade in AG history. AG history. Don't worry, I'll still stream. It's not election. I couldn't even get Vivek on my show. All right. Michael Cohen had an axe to grind. Last week, Costello told you when he first met with Cohen, Cohen told him that President Trump did not know the payments when they were made in 2016. Cohen was under stress, talking suicide. That's what Costello told him. He didn't know anything about it. Cohen lied to you about Mr. Costello. How many lies are too many? President never signed the agreement, nor side letter. It was Cohen who added President Trump's name to the side letter. When Trump knew in 2016, you only know from one source, Cohen. Cohen claimed he spoke to President Trump on October 24th at 8:02 p.m. about the Daniels situation. It was a lie. He called Schiller about the 14-year-old caller. That was perjury. The prosecution on redirect shows you an unremarkable photo that Schiller with President Trump. Of course he was. But the prosecutors didn't do anything about Cohen's perjury. Objection, sustained. What's the objection? He committed perjury. What's the objection? Cohen claimed he made a call on his landline, but the record are in evidence and objection. Whispered cyborg. There are no calls to President Trump on that day from Cohen's phones. Any of them. There are a lot of ways you can assess credibility, but we use an oath. And we learn that Mike Cohen does not take that oath seriously. He's lied to his family, to his banker, to the FEC, to reporters, to Congress. He's an MVP of liars. He's also a thief. He admitted on the stand to stealing tens of thousands of dollars from the Trump Organization on the way out. Never been prosecuted. Cohen has been obsessed with President Trump for 2 decades. He plays the audio. Cohen thanks Alvin Bragg, who I met countless times. Blanche says he never met him. He made millions off President Trump. He's actively objection. What's the objection? What is the objection that you're sustaining these? I don't know what's happening. I'm almost done. Here are 10 reasons for you to have reasonable doubt. Oh, good. People like having a whole list of reasons. 1, the invoices. Cohen created them. President Trump didn't know about them. 2, Valentine's Day 2017 voucher. No evidence President Trump saw the vouchers. No intent to describe a 1099 was filed. Similarly, the intent to influence the 2016 election. Prosecutors will try FICA, but no evidence of any willful violation or tax laws. The evidence is only from Mr. Cohen saying gross it up. 6th, AMI would have run Sagin's story, no catch and kill. So you can't even say there's an attempt to catch and kill here. 7, McDonald, also no catch and kill. 8, Stormy Daniels' story was already public. 9, in the manipulation of evidence, we have caught them. They showed Mrs. Trump's text to call her husband, but there was no call. They didn't show you the text about the 14-year-old caller. We did. And when was the phone synced? Mr. Cohen lied. Finally, Mike Cohen, he's the human embodiment of reasonable doubt. He lied. He's biased and motivated to tell you a story. That's not true. They say Tom Brady is the GOAT. Cohen is the gloat. Oh! Bam! Greatest liar of all time. Oh, yeah. I love it. They say Tom Brady is the GOAT. Cohen.
Fuck you! Fuck you! You touch kids! You touch kids! You loser!
I didn't even mean for that to happen.
Suck my dick! Your mother should have swallowed me!
Watch out, watch out.
Mother should have swallowed. I missed that before. I'm sorry. I hit the table and that just started playing. I don't know how that happened. Your mother should have swallowed. You hear me screaming that at the gloat, the greatest liar of all time. Wow, that was great. Such great timing. That was amazing. The gloat. Oh my gosh. That's it. That's the nail in the coffin right there. The gloat. Yes, we're convicting him on the words of the gloat. What a great. I am loving it. I am loving it. That is powerful. The gloat. Look, presentation is everything. I don't know how it sounded when I was there. It does change it dramatically. If he reads this very flat, it's not nearly as powerful. But, damn. Gloat. That's a great way to start wrapping up. Cohen lied to each of you repeatedly. You cannot send someone to prison based objection. What? Sustain. Mook! M-O-O-K! Mook! It really was pretty great, right? Cohen lied to eat you repeatedly. You cannot send someone in prison based on objection saying, thank you, jurors. You've been listening. This isn't a referendum on President Trump. If you focus on the evidence, this is a quick not guilty verdict. All right. And then they break till 2 o'clock. How long did they go for? 4.5 hours? But wait, there's more. Mershan says, the comment President Trump facing jail was outrageous. I will give a curative instruction. What? Outrageous? I'll see you at 2. What? What do you think this whole trial is about? This is craziness. This is craziness. This is crazy. I don't know what's happening here. I don't know what's happening. Outrageous? Used to stating all these objections seems a lot more outrageous. Do you have a draft of proposed curative instruction? Mr. Blanche was on notice. This was inappropriate. Okay, hold on a second. When demanding a curative instruction, will you tell them they must find him guilty? All right. There's on notice. We also want curative instruction on retainer agreements. Blanche misstated the law in New York. Okay. On the retainer agreement, we asked for time to put in a more substantive response tonight. The instruction on sentencing, I'll give exactly as written. On the retainer, I'm not going to do it. It would call more attention. Jury entering. Roshan says, during the defense summation, you heard Blanche ask you not to send the defendant to prison. That was not permitted, and you must not consider it. The defendant is found guilty. Sentencing will be my decision. Okay. People, here we go. We asked you on our opening to follow facts, the bank records. We asked you to tune out the noise and ignore the sideshows. If you can, you'll see that the people have presented strong evidence, very rock-solid strong evidence. Defense seems to be questioning our integrity. Defense double counted Mr. Cohen's calls with Mr. Costello. We don't have the records from Mr. Trump's phone lines in the White House. The absence of all call records does not prove that the call did not happen. Yeah, okay, there's no proof it ever did happen. The tape Mr. Blanche played, it wasn't about Stormy Daniels, it was about her ex-boyfriend. Daniels' first goal was to try and get the story on record to protect herself and her family. Gina Rodriguez was reaching out to Dylan Howard. Extortion is not a defense to falsifying business records. No one said it was. If you have any doubts, you can ask the judge. What? No one said it was. He's simply saying don't trust their credibility because they're a bunch of shady, crappy people. Blanche raised Pecker. Really? Did he really word it that way? Did he really? Did the prosecutor really? Is that how the prosecutor really worded it? I just want to know. Blanche raised Pecker. Well, Mr. Pecker eliminates the notion that it's politics as usual. Mr. Pecker has no reason to lie, but is devastating. Really? How so? What's devastating? Other witnesses have been attacked by a defendant on social media, subject to the wrath of the most fiery supporters. Stormy Daniels' son in 2017 until Cohen started saying the sex never happened. Some of his testimony was cringeworthy. What? Fortunately, Stormy Daniels did not offer details into the actual sexual act. You slimy woman. If you credit her testimony, it shows motive. Her story's messy. That's the point. Stormy Daniels is the motive. What? That brings us to Michael Cohen. I told you he has baggage. We agree that Cohen is an interested witness, but listen to his honor. Michael Cohen is understandably angry. Pecker got an MPA. So what? If he's understandably angry, it doesn't mean he's not full of crap. What the hell does this even mean? Howard Howard's in Australia. Cohen was defendant's consigliere. Then got dropped like a hot potato and called a sleaze bag. Apparently he didn't get paid. Why did he sue to get paid? Why did he sue to get paid? He worked for free? By the way, Cohen didn't say in this trial that he spoke with District Attorney Bragg. Conversation with Davidson, 265, Cohen reveals the defendant hates the fact that we did it. He had no motive to lie. He was still getting monthly checks. He said Cohen stole from the Trump org. I'll call it the TO. Cohen laid out $20,000 but allowed Weisberg to write $50,000. That was wrong. That's stealing. We admit it. But after doing 3 years, he says he paid the price. That's not what he did 3 years for. You should object to that. That's not what he did 3 years for. He says it's not a defense. Cohen's making money and even selling merchandise. Mr. Blanche put up a slide on that. It's not a crime, and I suspect he'll continue to do that. He can't own tax medallions anymore. Oh, boo-hoo. He gets online attacks on the defendant and his supporters. Oh, boo-hoo. What the hell? This is terrible. This is so terrible. This is so weak. Cohen feels like he was treated unfairly. He went to prison. Sure, you consider it. You should consider it, but does it cause you to outright shut your ears to all he has to say? Yeah, the fact that he lies under oath all the time. Yeah, his last Congress had to do with Mueller. He got no benefit from it. So now when he has benefit, all the more reason to lie. The October 24th call, Cohen did not initially remember all the topics. Look at this photo. The defendant, Mr. Schiller, were together. Let me do a dramatic reading. 49 seconds. Then Cohen texted the kid's number to Keith Schiller. Maybe Cohen got the day and time of the call wrong. You know, you made a call, you see a record, and you say, that's it. If Cohen wanted to come in here and lie, he would have gone for this is so terrible. Oh my God. What a humiliating closing. Just got 4 hours of this crap. Cohen was the buffer, the guy on the ground who could bully. He was a way for the defendant to maintain plausible deniability, or here, implausible deniability. We didn't pick Cohen up with a witness story. Mr. Trump picked him. This is the passage from the Think Big. The defendant wrote, well, he wrote Think Big like 30 years ago. I value loyalty over anything else. Ooh. Cohen was drawing the defendant like a moth to a flame. The defendant just used David Pecker. He corrupted those around him, made them lie. Costello, the purported back channel, was in fact a double agent. What? Objection. What's that based on? Cohen came clear. He's been consistent for years. To Congress in 2019, he apologized for lying. As we discussed in jury selection, is whether Cohen has reliable information. No. What? Or the fact that he lied to you on the stand right here. So here now is our timeline. Starts in August 2015. Rich and powerful men meeting to control. Ooh. Hope Hicks says she might have in and out. It's already about Stormy Daniels. Understandable. You don't want to tell your media manager, especially a female. Objection overruled. Of course. Pecker and AMI became covert arms of the defendant's campaign. Purchasing stories was an illegal campaign contribution. I have to tell you something. If the prosecution loses this case, it's so humiliating for them. So humiliating. If there's like a not guilty verdict, this is just outright humiliation. Best case scenario for me, is hung jury. I'm just saying, it gives me more time to go after my ungagged Trump right here in New York. Best case scenario for me. That's really the best case scenario for my ungagged Trump application. Hung jury. Wow, would that be amazing? Pecker and AMI became covert arms of the defendant's campaign. Purchasing stories was an illegal campaign contribution. Contracts are illegal, but the contract to kill your wife is illegal. The American people have a right to know. What? Wow, I would be objecting to that. You're implying that this was an illegal contract when it was not an illegal contract. The Trump Tower meeting with David Packard may very well be the. This is purposefully trying to mislead them into thinking an NDA is illegal. The Trump Tower meeting with David Packard may very well be the reason the defendant got elected in 2016. Sure, Packard said he would publish the love child story, if true, but he's willing to wait until after the election, so it's catch and kill. Now Catch and Kill Volume 2. Karen McDougal's saga. Davidson told Dylan Howard, who told Pecker, who told Cohen. Cohen says he was under strict order to keep the defendant informed. Then Pecker was in New Jersey and Trump called. Pecker said that Mr. Trump told him that Karen was a nice girl. They discussed competing offers for her story. The defendant said these type of stories always get out. It turns out he was right. As Davidson told you, he was shopping the story ABC News, which offered a spot on Dancing with the Stars in exchange for going public. Sure, Karen preferred AMI over being the next Monica Lewinsky. Trump is looming behind everything they're doing. This sounds so crazy. Davidson was wanting to call Cohen given their interaction in 2011, but he emailed Cohen and said it was professional courtesy. Howard said Cohen is hopeless. But another one done. AMI paid McDougal $150,000. The defense tried to imply AMI admitted to campaign finance violations because they were trying to close a second deal. Objection overruled. Come on. These were unlawful campaign contributions. How? 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 What about it was unlawful? The defense tried to make much that Cohen took another call. Newsflash, people use their phones. How many times have you migrated on iTunes? There's a full restore to a new device. Cohen got his phone back. The FBI had Ray downloaded from Cohen's phone, including his recording of the defendant. Objection overruled, of course. The metadata proves it was not tampered with. We'll take a break. They're back. This is 9 hours ago. So now it's 1 o'clock. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. How far along are you? 1/3. Jesus. This dude. Rambling. It looks a surprise like, oh my God, how is that only 1/3? We'll take our next break around 5:30. You tell you when you want it. Oh my God. Here's a Washington Post email to the campaign about the Access Hollywood tape. Pope Hicks told you the consensus was that this was a crisis. Could it be spun as locker room talk? This somewhat mealy-mouthed excuse that was locker room banter didn't work, so the defendant did a video. Bill Clinton has actually abused women. See you at the debate. He also portrayed Hillary Clinton as an enabler. Okay. Here's the defendant in Greensboro in October 2016. And here, Rodriguez gets overzealous, saying that Stormy Daniels had sex multiple times with the defendant, which Ms. Daniels has never said. Howard is suddenly more interested. There are only 3 weeks until the election, and they were talking about the story going in the Daily Mail. Melania Trump asked Cohen to call Trump. Cohen believes he did it from his landline. We don't have records for that. There's never any proof of any of this. Payment to Stormy Daniels was 11 days before the election. The defendant's concern was not his family, but his campaign. You don't even know if he knew about it. Okay, Hope Hicks mentioned not delivering newspapers to Melania, but he asked, how's it playing? On November 8th, the defendant was elected. Go get you a break. Okay. 5:25, they're back. Into the business records. Cohen asked Packard to intervene on his behalf. Also, Davidson, while he was shopping at some oddly decorated box store. If you remember, Cohen said Trump said not to worry. The defendant gave his orders to Mike Cohen, and Alan Weisberg gave orders to Jeff McConney, who gave orders to Deb Tarasaf. The false business records were created. Here's the bank statement Weisberg gave to McConney. Here are McConney's notes. They're acting in concert. The judge will give you instructions, which hopefully will tell you that you must find him guilty, because otherwise no jury will ever find him guilty here. But hopefully he'll direct you that you must find him guilty. They're acting in concert. The judge will give you instructions. I was going to explain all things, but I didn't realize who clear Michael Cohen was with you. The 1099 is false. It was no non-employee compensation. It was a reimbursement. It's a crime to file false tax documents, even if you overpay. This is the argument. You know the crime that he broke? That he overpaid too much taxes. That's his crime. Trump's crime is that he caused the creation of the payment of too much taxes. Too much taxes. Not too little taxes. We need to put Trump in jail for causing Michael Cohen to spend too much in taxes. I need to just say this again because some of you might be confused. You know, another attorney told me that this was one of the claims. I was like, I haven't heard that anywhere. And here's this jackass Steinglass making this claim. They want to throw Trump in jail for falsifying business records that were designed to pay Michael Cohen more money than he was entitled to get. Instead of paying back a loan, pay him his salary, so that now he's overpaying taxes, and overpaying taxes is creating a fraudulent record, fraudulent business record, because you're paying too much money in taxes. We have to throw Trump in jail for paying too much money in taxes, which is a crime here in New York. How desperate can you possibly be than to ask a jury to throw the former president and frontrunner of the GOP in jail for causing too much taxes from his own pocket to be paid to the IRS? Wow. The 1099 is for. This is just. I got it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Craziness. Just crazy. HPG KMC says, I thought you could only discuss things in closing that would testify or present in court. If a planned witness didn't testify, how do you introduce her testimony during closing? I don't know which part you're referring to with that. All right. Sorry. Where we at? Now let's go over the invoices, vouchers, and checks. And some of these you can kind of see staple marks. The defense is saying it was all cooked by Weisberg. That's crazy. Trump is signing his $80 Verizon bill and finds this $35,000. I got Miss Westerhouse to say he would just sign presidential proclamations without reading them. She also said Trump would call Weisberg about particular checks. Miss Neschles desperately tried to walk that back. Okay. Mark Rubert says DeNiro is a coprophagist. In court filings for his divorce, DeNiro's ex claimed he liked to have something warm and brown laid on him after coitus. Sick, man. The defendant could let his wife sign checks. He could have set up auto pay, but Trump wanted to retain control. That's who he is. He admitted in his books. He's here from Think Like a Billionaire. Okay. The defendant wrote, I try to sign as many checks as possible. Hicks put the nail, Mr. Trump, and then cried. Objection overruled. How do you... Of course. Defendant cared about the election, not his family. Here, Cohen bragged that he was going to deny the FEC with patently false statement. The FEC complained with patently false statement. Objection overruled. This is just unbelievable. New York is the business capital of the world. You have an obligation to keep records. This is about lying in business records, just like hundreds of cases before. Objection overruled. Please approach. Quiet down, please. You guys good to go a bit longer? All right. Here's the defendant tweeted that he didn't think Michael would flip. By the way, I love that this prosecutors are so stupid as to say we want to go last, and we're going to be going like at 7 o'clock at night, because there's no way the jury is paying any attention to them. There's no way. You're sitting there. You have no idea how long they're going to go, and you're just sort of sitting there, forced to sit there. All you're thinking about is, oh my God, when are we getting out of here? Oh my God, this is so stupid. Oh my God, I just want to leave. I can promise you every juror was thinking that. Okay, I don't know every juror. At least 10 out of 12 jurors during the prosecution's closing was not paying attention at all. Instead, they're sitting there thinking, oh my God, please end. Oh my God, please let us go. It's like a teacher keeping you after hours. You're sitting there paying attention. Oh, let me take notes on this. Oh, let me take notes on this. I really care about this part. Stupid. It's like think like a human. Not all of them are just every 5 minutes. That's where the clock is. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. That's what you do. Stupid. So it's almost like I'm reading this. I'm like, we're reading it. We're paying it much more attention than the jury did. Positive. The defendant tweeted that he didn't think Michael would flip. Cohen met with Mike Costello. Cohen didn't trust Costello. And can you blame him? You saw him. What? In this email he wrote, we're following instruction from Rudy. You're allowed to Costello's demeanor on the stand. The judge will tell you that. Look at this email. Yeah, Costello is much less reliable than Cohen. Writes to Cintron, this a-hole is playing with the most powerful man on the planet. Cohen pled guilty. Objection. Approach. So this, would you have paid absent the election? Objection. Overruled, of course. Cohen said no. This is when defendants think big and revenge on Truth Social. He called Stormy Daniels horseface. Even Monograph says Daniels has a horseface. Sorry. Even Monograph says Daniels came to Trump Tower. Here in all caps, if you go after me, I'm coming after you. It's the throngs of his followers. How is that? Objection, please approach. I'm not saying it was Mr. Trump's intention to have his throngs get involved. Yeah, apparently you were. That's exactly what you were saying. We'll take a break. Final break of the day. The juror have told us that we can go to 8 p.m. because they want to come back for more arguments. But yeah, they're not happy. Steinglass, maybe a colleague can hand you a note then to wrap it up. Bring in the jury entering. Here's a story about Ted Cruz's father and Lee Harvey Oswald. Hearing from Cohen's testimony, I require approval from him on all this, consistent with Trump management style. This call from Cohen to Trump on Schiller's phone. How do we know that? It was a media monsoon. Look at this timeline entry. March 2018, Stormy Daniels goes on Anderson Cooper. Defendant complains she broke the NDA. The false business records benefited only the defendant. Look at the evidence as a whole. We don't have to show the defendant actually created the false records. This is a no-brainer. This is ample evidence of an intent to defraud. There has to be another crime. What crime? The answer is New York State election law. We're beating a dead horse here. Yeah. They committed FECA violations. Objection over what? There's no evidence that they broke FECA. Where's the evidence they broke a FECA violation? This was a campaign contribution. That's why it was made. Defendant already announced he was going to run for president again. Did he? When? When was that? Where's the evidence of that? You don't agree on which crime. The judge will tell you, which is insane, that it could be like 14 different crimes. One juror thinking this, one juror thinking that, which is insane. All roads lead to President Trump. You, the jury, can hold him accountable. Very soon it'll be time to deliberate and then come back in here and say guilty 34 times. Tomorrow I'll give you my instructions. 1 hour and you'll receive the case. We'll start at 10. Wow. What a cluster fart. What an utter, absolute show. That is just like, that's a DeNiro speech show. Complete and total DeNiro speech show. What a disaster that was. It's terrible. I really think Blanche did a great job. I really liked his closing from what we saw. Anyway, speaking of wrapping up a show, some of you might be wondering where the cartoon is. I understand that. I don't blame you. He hasn't made an appearance in a while. That's your reminder that Joe is getting so close to 100K. So close. I'm like the little engine, like, I think I can. So, you probably want to follow me on Locals at goodlogic.locals.com, so this way you know where to find me, where I'm going to be, if I'm on Spaces sometimes. Ooh, where's Joe? Where's Joe? Maybe I'm over here. Maybe I'm over there. You won't know. You won't know unless you follow me at goodlogic.locals.com. You certainly have to hope that you're going to get notifications, but hit up and subscribe over here, and I'll be most obliged. I'll be most grateful. That applies whether you're on YouTube. That applies whether you're on Locals. That applies, well, on Locals you probably already signed up. That certainly applies if you're on Rumble, where I still have 11,700 followers. There you go. There you go. Thank you all for joining me. No matter how life is treating you, make sure you do not eat the bugs. Don't eat the bugs. The bugs. It's not tasty. It's not tasty. It's ew. It's ew. Yuck. No bugs. Don't eat the bugs. Have a good night, my friends. See you all tomorrow. Until then, go on speed.